Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. So we are on Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, first canto, chapter 2, Divinity and Divine Service. This is text number 4. We're doing our deep dive meditation, study, and memorization of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, first canto, chapter 2. Some of you might know S.B. Keshava Swami. He had his book called Bhagavad Gita in acronyms. He is also author of many other books. And he's taken chapters of Bhagavad Gita and he's put the conversational flow of those chapters into acronyms. For example, chapter 9. What is the Sanskrit name for chapter 9? Navanit. Oh, he just Nagashayan. He had a signed book. Whoa. Which book did he get signed?
Prabhu, I got Gita 3 from him in London. He just came to University College London, to our university. I just took his book.
Which one was it called?
University College London, Prabhu.
No, the book.
Book name is Gita 3. Yeah.
The tree. Oh, okay. This has the acronyms in it also, isn't it?
Yes, Prabhu. It's a practical implementation, regarding how to manage time and all, based on the teachings of Bhagavad Gita.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So Navanit, excuse me. Do you know the name of chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita? Any guess? Okay, Nagashayan, any guess? I think he's looking it up. He's looking it up. Oh, you're on mute.
Prabhu, Rajavidya Yoga, Prabhu.
Rajavidya. So Rajavidya. Raj means?
Raj means king.
King. So actually chapter 9 can be divided into 4 sections. K, I, N, G. First 3 verses glorifies the knowledge. It's like an introduction. Next verses, 4 through I think it's 11, Krishna talks about his inconceivable potency, the Sachincha Beta Tattva, how he is interacting with, he is basically the Lord of material nature, and everything's acting according to his will, but he is not really actually connected to matter. It's just like a Icha Shakti, means it's actually happening according to his desires, but he doesn't actually have to do anything. He's very aloof from material nature. Then N, Krishna's talking about non-devotional worship. Gyana yagena chapanye jantu mamupasate ekatvena pritakvena bahuda vishrito makam. Those who worship him in different ways. Those who worship him as the ekat, the oneness. Those who worship as the Vishvata, the universal being, the universe. And those who worship as Pritakvena, those who worship him as divided into many, as the Devatas. So that's non-devotional service. And G is glories of bhakti. And so at the end of the chapter, he just continuously expounds the glories of bhakti. And basically Krishna explains how he is very attached and very partial and very dear to his devotee. And his devotee is very dear to him. And so that's an example of how it helps remember the conversational flow. So I made my own attempt to do that. Of course, I'm not a sannyasi of great depth and wisdom, so I'm trying to do whatever I could. So I have the acronym I tried to do my own for this chapter, because although he has a book on the Bhagavatam, he has the whole cantos in acronyms, a very short book, where this is, we're trying to, the flow of the actual verses in a chapter in acronym form. So I wrote in the first email, this whole world is vibrating sounds of questions and answers. The birds are chirping. Where's the worm? The child is asking, where do babies come from? The commercials are answering, this product/service will fulfill you. And everyone is asking, what is the weather for today? However, Thousands of years ago, great sages asked the most fundamental questions. Knowing thus, a person can be fully satisfied, and those wonderful inquiries were given fruition in the wonderful discourse known as Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, beginning with chapter 2 of the first canto. So the acronym is divine for this first chapter, and I have them all figured out, but I've written something for the first letter, which is verses 1 through 5. The letters, the second and third letter, I'm looking for a replacement for the word I have, because it's basically the second letter. It's dignify, invaluable, and I can't do this. This is the second letter is valuable. That's ridiculous. Then the next letter, I, is called for increments, where he talks about the 9 stages of bhakti. Then N stands for, what was N? Where's my notes? Where's the N? I know E is for expansions, because there's a section where Krishna talks about his different expansions. Where is that? Notes. Where is it? So many notes. Is this it? And I think I found it. Yeah, there we go. Navigate. N is for navigate, where he's talking about these very potent, powerful personalities such as Lord Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu. And then he talks about, so he's trying to understand who's the supreme being. And then the last part is these expansions. So that's the acronym that I put together for this chapter. And so for verses 1 through 5, D for dignify. In order to get answers, one must always examine the efficacy of the source. Throughout time, various methods of epistemology has been employed, and one of many methods is Shabda, testimony. If you want to learn about Japan from New York City, it cannot be done by extending my senses through a telescope. Rather, I must rely on a source, a testimony, which I can respectfully test. In the Vedic system, both blind faith and blind doubt are rejected. Prabhupada talks about this in the purport of Bhagavad Gita 434. To have an answer but to avoid questions is blind faith, and to have questions but to avoid answers is blind doubt. Thus, both honor and respect are important elements in expressing doubts to one's teacher. Thus, in these first 5 verses, both the speaker and the questioners are honored for their dignified qualities and questions. And so this is the verse that we're doing today. This is chapter. This is a famous verse we always hear. Anyone who's sitting in the Bhagavatam class, you'll most likely the speaker will recite this verse. And also, if you're listening to Wisdom of the Sages, this is often recited, and this is every day they recite it on their Bhagavatam show. So going to repeat. Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam toto jayam udirayet. Before reciting this Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, and to Nara-Narayana Rishi, the most human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasa, the author. So we hear sometimes on the show, there's a question. Sometimes in the way it's written, it sounds like Nara-Narayana Rishi is one person. And other times we hear it's two. And so, just like to clarify, it is definitely two. Definitely two. There are twins. This is actually Krishna, Shaktiman, and his Shakti. There's different Shaktis of Krishna. One of them is the Jiva Shakti, the souls. So this soul, his name, he has appeared 5,000 years ago by the name of Arjuna. And so Krishna and Arjuna previously had their appearance as Nara-Narayana Rishi. So here, let's see. You find that Prabhupada, when he's lecturing on this on Nara-Narayana Rishi, he's always saying they. So in this incarnation, Nara-Narayana, they undertook severe penance to teach us. That was this is a series of lecture. They are an incarnation of God, but they went to undergo severe penances. Nara-Narayana, and he talks about how actually Nara-Narayana Rishi, they're actually still present in Badarak Ashram. And you can also, there's the deity of Nara-Narayana Rishis in Badarak Ashram in the Himalayas. They executed, so he's talking about the severe austerities that they did. So in this position, Nara-Narayana, they underwent severe penances like Dhruva Maharaj. Let's see. And this is, excuse me, Prabhupada's letter. Regarding Jadharani's question, Lord Nara-Narayana appeared as twin grown-up youths in the palace, and there are always sages gathered around. This is information for making paintings. And so Krishna, this is his, throughout the Bhagavatam, it talks about Nara-Narayana Rishi. There's another one, there's Dwa Purusho Tatra Vartete Nara-Narayana Bhubao. This is from the Padma Purana. Dwa Purusha, two men, in the form of Krishna. Of the form of Krishna, called Nara and Narayana, live on the peak of the Himalaya. One is white and the other is black. Let me see. This is just some notes from Prabhupada's lecture. Prabhupada gave a very short lecture on this. But he tells us this cool story how when we want to enjoy the illusion. So he talks about a dog who he captures some food, and then he goes over to the lake and he sees in the lake another dog, and this dog also has food in his mouth. He decides, I'm going to attack this dog and take his food. But he's actually just seeing his reflection. And so as soon as he bites for the dog, he loses his greed. He tries to enjoy, and he loses what he had in his mouth. So Prabhupada compares this to like the Roman Empire. They see I want this, I want that, and then their greed cause them to eventually lose everything. The British Empire also, same thing. They say they used to say the sun never sets on the British Empire. They used to say it's all over the world. But now it's like they don't have any sun because they're in London. It's like hardly any sun. So it's like they have no sun now. So. All right. So let's see. Any questions?
As
Many
of
of
now,
you,
no problem. Like as you said, sun sets like in British. There is no sun in like in Europe and all, like in England. It's very true that here sun sets 2:30 p.m. only. That's very true.
and also see, you know, everyone gets their karmic reaction.
Yes, bro.
So,
That's true.
England, they took over India.
Yes, bro.
So now the Indians have taken over England. They are they are the who are the wealthiest group there? The Indians. You know,
Indians, bro. That's true.
they even
That's
now
true.
have governmental positions, and you know, so they got their karma.
Yeah, bro. That's true.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's just some more verses from. This is from 7th canto, 11th chapter. Lord Narayan, along with his partial manifestation Nara, has appeared in this world through the daughter of Daksha, known as Murti. He was begotten by Dharmaraj for the benefit of all living beings. Even now, he is still engaged in executing great austerities near the place known as Badirka Ashram. So, Brahma, from Brahma's chest, was born Dharma, the deity of Dharma. And the deity of Dharma married the daughter known as Murti of Daksha. And then their child, there was the twins, Nara and Narayan. Another pastime that's interesting that later when Prahlad, we know Prahlad is, we usually see him as a child, but when he was older, he saw these sages, and he thought they were like bogus sannyasis because the sages had weapons, and he saw one of the tree was full of arrows, and so he challenged them. He said, "What kind of sages, carry weapons?" He thought, you're just fakers. Who are you? And they responded, when someone is powerful, they can do anything they want. And so Prahlad got upset. He started to challenge them for a battle. And he could not defeat them. He could not defeat them. And then he went back and he prayed to Lord Vishnu. And he said, the only way you're going to defeat them, they cannot be defeated in battle. They only can be defeated by devotion. And so he went and he offered his prayers. And that's how he met Nara-Narayana rishis. Also in the Bhagavatam, we find that Indra, he was bewildered by the he saw that these two twin sages were performing these austerities, and Indra always becomes worried when he sees somebody doing intense austerities. Dana K, how does someone become an Indra? Any guess? To become an Indra, who is the king of the heavenly planets, you have to perform hundreds and thousands of very pious activities, and you have to perform great austerities and asceticism. So if anybody is performing, especially asceticism, Indra feels quite threatened. Like in the movies, it says his throne. It shows like his throne starts shaking. He feels quite threatened. Now someone's going to take my job. If their piety outmatches my piety, then they may take my position, and I may lose my job. And so oftentimes when someone is engaging in austerities, Indra tries to tempt such sages. He tries to cause them to fall down to sexual impropriety by some sexual fall down. So he sends these heavenly damsels that are superhumanly beautiful, that are beyond the beauty found on earth. And oftentimes sages do fall down, like Vishamrita is one example. So he did that to the sages he sent Cupid and along with his associates. And Nara-Narayana rishis, they just left. And from their body, they manifested celestial beauties that totally outshined the beauties of Cupid and his associates. And they were very fearful, and they offered prayers, and Nara-Narayana Rishi said, "Oh, take this beauty back with you to the heavenly planets." And that was Urvashi, famous celestial personality. She later appears in, I think, 9th canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Now, in many verses, there's different ways verses can be read. Like, if you hear the translation, it says here, before reciting Śrīmad Bhāgavatam as the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the personality of Godhead Narayan, and to Nara-Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasa, the author. Now, oftentimes, this Narottama, the supermost human being, that part of the verse is referring to Krishna himself. So it is customary in Vedic literature, when you're reciting in the beginning, you may offer several different respects. It's customary to utter the name of the sage who revealed the mantra, Vyasa. It's customary to recite the meter, Gayatri. It's customary to recite the subject, Krishna, that would be the Narottama. It's customary to recite the bij, or the seed mantra, Om. That's how the Bhagavatam starts with the word Om. It's customary to cite the Shakti, the energy of the work, which is considered Saraswati, and the Adishtatri Devata, Nara-Narayana, and the purpose for uttering the mantra. So these are different elements that are customary to recite. And so, in this verse, I think one basic way of looking at the word for word is Narayana Namaskritya. I offer my respectful obeisances to Narayana, the Rishi, Naram Chaiva Narottamam, and to Nara Rishi. These are the two Rishis are there. Chaiva. So it can be unto Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or his partial expansion, Narayan Rishi, along with Nara Chaiva, Narottamam, and to the Narottamam, Krishna. So this is one way it can be understood. And therefore you see, you have Nara and Narayan being... So I remember on the show, they hear this Nara-Narayana Rishi, the most human being, and then it sounds like they're talking about one person. But as you see in the Vedic literature, it's very clear that it is two persons. Devam Saraswatim. Now, one may ask, okay, Saraswati, isn't she a goddess in this material? Would the transcendental topic of Bhagavatam be related to the material world? So Saraswati is one of she's actually part of Lakshmi. She is one of the Sri, Bhu, and Nila Shaktis. These are different Shaktis. These are different expressions of Lakshmi, which is the goddess of fortune, the transcendental goddess, is the consort of Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayan. And so this is called Divya Shakti, Divya Saraswati, Saraswati in the spiritual world. This is not just the demigoddess Saraswati, but her actual origin. So Saraswati is the goddess of education. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Until we're offering obeisances of Vyasa, the author. And Tato Jayam Udirayat. And it says, upon doing so, we should chant Jai, Jai. So all of you can repeat Jai, Jai. Tato Jayam Udirayat. Okay, let me see what can we read here. Purport. All the Vedic literatures and Puranas are meant for conquering the darkest region of material existence. The living being is in a state of forgetfulness of his relationship with God due to his being overly attracted to material sense gratification from time immemorial. His struggle for existence in the material world is perpetual, and it's not possible for him to get out by making plans. You know, we have all kinds of methods of protection: car insurance, life insurance, renter's insurance. We have our guard dog. We have our Ring doorbell. You know, security cameras. Even in India, if you're wealthy, then you have armed guard. But none of these things will protect you from, you know, the janma mrityu jara vyadi, the death, disease, old age, repetition of birth. As what is it? I believe it is Rishabh Dev. Let me see. Rishabh Dev. He talks about our fallible soldiers. These are. Let me see if I can find it. I think it is right. I think it is 5th canto. Let's see, I think 5th canto, 5th chapter. Let's see. There's a certain term. It means fallible soldiers. 5th canto, 4th chapter. Oh, thank you. Let's see. Well, there's a verse where Kalatradi Shu. It's something I've heard it so long ago. It's like it's failing my memory. Advance view. Take a purport. Let's see. Mahatsevam. Nunam pramata vurite karma parasbhavas. These are all cool verses. But there's one verse basically saying that we have all these different things that we surround ourselves to kind of protect our life, and they're considered fallible soldiers. Actually, probably just type in that word, fallible soldiers, and it might come up. Let's see. We can look up the actual verse. Fallible soldiers. Is this? Oh, it's 2nd canto. 1st chapter, text 4. Deha patra kalatarishu atmashanyeshu ashatsvapi tesham pramato nidanam pashan api napashyati. Persons devoid of Atma Tattva do not inquire into the problems of life. being too attached by the fallible soldiers like body, children, and wife. Although sufficiently experienced, they do not see that their inevitable destruction. So there's a saying: you can have the best of all doctors, you can have the best of all parents, and you can have the sturdiest boat, but neither the best of all doctors can guarantee that that someone may not die from sickness, nor do the greatest parents can not guarantee the protection of the child, nor do the sturdiest boat can protect those who are upon the boat. You see, whereas one person, he was on the Titanic, and he survived. He worked in the engine room, and he covered his body in grease. And as the boat was sinking, he was praying and praying and praying. He said, "Oh my Lord, I've lived my whole life as an alcoholic, just drinking and drinking, and now I'm going to drown. Please, I promise, I will completely change my life if you protect me." And so he covered his body in engine grease, and they went through some exhaust pipes or something like that, some kind of tubing system. And he was in the water, and then he got onto one of the boats, and the grease kind of also insulated him, helped protect him from losing too much of his body temperature. And then he survived. He went back to Ireland. Was it Ireland or England? I think he went back to Ireland, and he became a gardener. But after some years, like 10 years or so, he went back to drinking. He became an alcoholic. And one day outside of the pub, he fell down. I think he hit his head also. He fell unconscious. And there was a little puddle, and he drowned in the puddle due to his unconscious state. He drowned in the puddle. So he survived the Titanic, but he drowned in a puddle. So this world is like that. You cannot escape suffering. Also, you should, if we make some vow to the Lord, we should keep those vows. Otherwise, we may be back again in the situation where we're suffering what we were meant to suffer. The Lord may change our destiny. But we may fall back into our destined path. It seemed like he had to fall back into his destined path. So here we are reading. Okay, it's again purport. If he at all wants to conquer the perpetual struggle for existence, he must reestablish his eternal relationship with God. And one who wants to adopt such remedial measures must take shelter of the literatures such as the Vedas and the Puranas. Foolish people say that the Puranas have no connection with the Vedas. However, the Puranas are the supplementary explanations of the Vedas intended for different types of men. All men are not equal. All people are not equal. There are men who are conducted in the mode of goodness. There are others in the mode of passion, and others in the mode of ignorance. The Puranas are so divided that any class of man will take advantage of them and gradually regain their lost position and get out of the hard struggle for existence. Srila Sutta Goswami shows the way of chanting the Puranas. This may be followed by persons who aspire to be preachers of Vedic literatures of the Puranas. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is the spotless Purana, and is especially meant for them who desire to get out of the material entanglement permanently. So there are different Puranic literatures that are helping people who are in different modes of material nature. So if you know the topic of the three gunas, you'll see that there is a sattva guna, rajaguna, and tamaguna. So there are 18 Mahapuranas, 18 main Puranas, and just like the Bhagavad Gita is divided into 3 sections of 6, the 18 Puranas are divided into 3 sections of 6 Puranas each. 6 Puranas in Tamaguna, 6 Puranas in Rajaguna, and 6 Puranas in Sattvaguna. And so Bhagavatam is in that sattva guna. So sattva guna is serene. Prabhupada describes serene, active, and dull. The mode of ignorance is dull. When a person's consciousness is dull, then there is literature that addresses that more darkened consciousness. When a person's consciousness is active or fruitive, full of many desires, then there are Puranas that are more suitable. If someone is looking for something more serene, then there's Puranic literature to address that. Let's see, that's the end of that. Seeing if there's anything else we can look at. Any reflections in our practice? Oh, we lost Navneet. Any question, Nagashayan Prabhu?
No problem. As of now, no questions. Thank you.
Dana K? All right, so let's give our chanting. Now, Nagashayan, you're from India, so you can help with this. My investigation for this, you see this, the fourth word.
Okay, bro.
How would you pronounce that?
Which fourth word, bro? Like I'm not getting any screen or something.
Shloka, verse 2, first canto, chapter 2, text 4.
Canto chapter 2, text 4. 1 minute. Let me open it.
There's a slight pronunciation, I think, that is a little different from how I mostly hear it. But so let's tell me, how do you pronounce that fourth word?
Narayanam namaskrutyam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udhirayet. Which fourth word, Prabhu?
And you're reading from the Devanagari or from the English?
English only I'm reading, Prabhu. I'm comfortable in English.
Yeah. Okay. So this chaiva,
Chaiva.
Yeah. Now, it's two words. It's cha and eva together.
Yes, bro. Correct.
And so I usually say chaiva.
It's chaiva, Prabhu.
Chaiva.
It's chaiva. Narayanam namaskrutyam naram chaiva narottamam. Like I used to.
Chaiva.
Chaiva, yeah.
Okay. Naram chaiva. Cha eva. Chaiva.
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking. Yeah. Sometimes it like one pronunciation guide says AI is like aisle. It's really high, like hitting like a, and another pronunciation guide says it's like my, the Y in my. I and my is a little bit, there's a little bit like a, one sounds more like a and the E together. Cha, che.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. One sounds a little bit more high, and the other one sounds like the two different pronunciation guides in different books.
But, from my childhood, I used to chant like this only, bro. Naram chaiva narottamam.
Chaiva. Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Chaiva. Well, your way you're saying it is still not as high as some people say. You're saying chaiva, and some people say chaiva.
Chaiva. Okay, naram chaiva. No. I listened. Majority of the times people say chaiva. That's it. They'll not go to very high pitch or something. Yeah.
I think English, when we see we'll like say like chai, like chaiva, a little bit more chai.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
In English.
Yes, bro. Yeah.
But I think it's a little bit more of an E sound in it. Chaiva.
Okay. Yeah. maybe. Yes, bro. Yeah.
So I think I had here, other people had here, you're in the middle. I think you're in the right spot.
Prabhu, like in Indian languages, like when two words get combined, like what happens? The resultant word will be somewhat different from those two words.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. As you said for chaiva, che plus eva, chaiva. Yeah,
Yeah.
somewhat
Thank you.
different. Yeah, Prabhu.
Chaiva. Chaiva. All right. Narayanam namaskritya.
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 Naram chaiva narottamam.
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 Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
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 Tato Jayam Udirayet.
Tato Jayam Udirayet.
Tato Jayam Udirayet.
Tato Jayam Udirayet.
And I think there's only a few words that are, that, many of them are just names. So it's not like we can have, trivia, like, oh, what is Saraswati? The answer is Saraswati, the divine goddess of learning.
Yes.
But there are a few words that, help us put the sentence together. So it's tata, thereafter, tata, Jai, Jai, Udirayet, should be announced. After offering obeisances, Jai should be announced. Udirayet. And Narottam, that's another one that's not a name, but more of a description. So Nara, actually there's, in Padma Purana, I read one translation of Padma Purana. It was very brief. And so I'm looking to actually read the whole thing properly, verse by verse. This was kind of like a rough translation. But one time, Brahma, he had created this Nara. And Lord Vishnu says, who is this Nara? Or no, he actually said, created this man. And Vishnu said, who is this man? And he says, his name is man. Because Nara means just man. It means human, or it could mean male. So who's this man? And Brahma's response is, his name is man. You have called him man, his name is man, and he'll become your friend. You will both have... and there's the pastime of Karna's previous birth. Karna was given great powers, and nobody could... he was considered dangerous, and so there was an attempt to destroy Karna, and the response was Nara. And so they fought and they fought, and it almost came to the point where Karna was going to this. I think his name was Sahasra Kavacha, 1,000 kavachas. He had 1,000 kavachas, and said that when the last kavacha was removed from his body, then he would for sure die. Otherwise, he. And so this Nara-Narayana, they actually fought the Sahasra Kavacha, and one would engage in penance and fight, and the other one would fight, and then they would switch and switch and switch until all the kavachas were, all these protective mantric shields were removed from his body. And then, but at the very end, it was petitioned by the Lord to the Lord, like no, he was granted a boon that I think it was Lord Shiva, he granted a boon that he would not die, and so he said, okay, they'll fight next when we appear again. And so he appeared, he took shelter of the sun, and then he was born as Karna. And he had his body was covered with a golden shield. He was born with golden earrings and a golden shield, golden breastplate, part of his actual body. And Nara appeared as Arjuna, and they fought again. And Karna was ultimately killed by Arjuna in the battle of Kurukshetra. And there's a great story in Padma Purana. There's a lot more details. It's many chapters, so I have to read it. But Nara means man. So you've Dana K, who is the half lion, half man incarnation of Krishna?
Nrsimhadev?
There's two main ways his name is written. One is Nri, N-R-I, Simha. And the other one is Nara Singha. So what does Nara mean? Man. And what is Singha? It's hard to hear. I think you got your connections. Simha? There's a movie about him. Simba. Simha means lion, and it means king. Therefore, there's a movie, Lion King, made all about him. Simha. Therefore, you heard of Singapore. Pur means city, the place of lions. There was they used to have a lot of mountain lions in Singapore. Also, there's in Sri Lanka they speak Sinhalese. They speak lion language. And also another place you'll see this word is the those who are in the Sikh tradition. The Sikh tradition, they have turban, they have beard, and they're like a kind of a Islamic friendly version of Hinduism. Basically everything that the Islamic community could not stand, deities and that is all removed, but it's still they have a book called the Guru Granth Sahib, and in the book it says Lord Rama is God. And just like that we do arti with the fan and all these materials to the deities of Lord Ram and Krishna, they do the arti to the book Guru Granth Sahib. And this is great. It was founded during the time of Lord Chaitanya. There was Guru Granth Sahib. There was a lineage starting with Guru Granth Sahib. And so those who are in that tradition, especially those who are born in the tradition, most of the time their last name is one last name, Singh. And so if you notice, in modern Indian languages, the A is totally cut. So in Sanskrit we say Arjuna, but in Hindi we say Arjun. Like in India they'll even say Krishna, and in Sanskrit Krishna is there. So instead of Singha, lion, it becomes Singh. And because Singh is king, they're like Kshatriyas. Many times the Sikh community protected the other communities. They protected the Hindu community from abuses and such. They're like Kshatriyas, and they protect Dharma. And so these are different ways you can remember. So Singha is lion, and Nara is human. So Nara, and so what is this name Narayana? Narayana, Ayana means to rest. So Narayana has different meanings. One meaning is that he is the resting place for all humans. They all take shelter, rest upon him. He is also that man who rests on the body of the water of the universe. Narayana. He's lying there on the Garbhodaka ocean in one form, Karana ocean, these different forms of the Lord. Like you also hear later on, they'll talk about Narada. Da is to give. Like in Spanish, you say dar, dana, dana, dana. Dana is charity, to give. And so Narada means a person, he who gives knowledge to people, to humans, naras. Narada. Dana. They don't donate. Dana. Dar. In Spanish you say to give. Narada. Yashoda. Yasha is fame. She who gives brings fame to this world. Kirtida, also very similar. So Nara. So Narayanam Namaskritya. Namaskritya, we know this one. Namaste, Namaskritya. Namaskritya. Namakritya. Kritya means to do. Offer your namas. Offer your obeisances. Namaskritya. Naram chaiva narotamam. Nara uttamam. Uttam means the greatest. Nara, the greatest human being. So how about Nagashine? You give us some chants and we will repeat.
Yeah, sure, bro. Can I share my screen?
Yes.
I think you need to give a permission to share me the screen.
Okay, I don't know if would you think it will stop the recording? Would we change hosts or no? Might.
Oh, okay. No, it's not required, bro. I'll repeat so that you can, we can do like this. Yeah.
Okay.
Narayanam namaskritya.
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 Naram chaiva narottamam.
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 Narayanam namaskritya. 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 Naram chaiva narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Divya Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Divya Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudirayet.
Tato Jayam Udirayet.
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 Devim Saraswatim Vyasam 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 Tato Jayam Udirayet.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet.
Narayanam Namaskritya Nam Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. So this one verse, I think it's, although generally I don't focus on rote English memorization, I feel it's that we don't want to have double the work. If you can remember the verse and you can remember the meaning of the words, and then you can remember the meaning of the verse, that is generally good. But this is a verse that is recited often in English as well. Devotees recite the Sanskrit and they recite the English. So it's a verse that it would be good for us to memorize how it is written. So we're in that situation where we're all chanting together. We can chant it consistently. So before reciting the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Nara-Narayana Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasa Dev, the author. So Dana K, you want to? Are you free? Can you say the first two lines, and then see if you can say it just with your eyes closed? Before reciting the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest.
The English, please?
The English part, yes.
Studying the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest. Is that right?
Yeah.
One should offer obeisance.
One should offer read it a few times, the first two parts, and then try to say it from memory, the first two parts. And then read this, the second section. One should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Nara-Narayana Rishi. You can, so do the first two parts and then expand a little further.
Before reciting the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest. Before reciting the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest. One should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan. Unto Nara-Narayana Rishi, the supremest human being. Unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasa Dev, the author. Before reciting the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, should offer full obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto the Nara-Narayana Rishi, the most human being, unto Mother Saraswati, goddess of learning, and unto the Vyasa, reciting the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest. One should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, onto Nara-Narayana Rishi, being to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and onto Vyasa, the author.
Okay, wonderful. Now every day when you hear it on the show, just you can just get right on cue when they're chanting it. You chant along with it, and and on the show, from what I remember, is say do the Sanskrit, and they do the English. So
Yes, exactly.
we'll have plenty of practice for that.
It's true.
Nice. Here's okay. Prabhu, any reflections, comments, or questions?
No, Prabhu, not from my side, but it's a very nice class, Prabhu. Like you do every week, like every day, like this. It's a wonderful dedication from you. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so,
Thank you.
could you? I couldn't hear you.
Very much agree. It's beautiful. Thank you so much.
So, all thanks to both of you for being here. Just a little note: it's sometimes you see in the verse certain words are. You'll see that the verses can be understood in various ways. So here in the translation, you see, which is the very means of conquest, which is Jai. Jai is Jayanti, means victory, victorious conquest of what are we trying to conquer? This getting out of this darkest region of material existence, getting out of the cycle of birth and death. So in one way of rendering it is that like that. Another way of rendering it is in the commentaries. It's saying that one should say Jai at the after offer obeisances, and so you'll see there. It's like a jewel. There are actually many different hidden meanings inside in one verse. So, and you say it's not a simple. It's not a complex verse. So, most of the time we're just reciting and practicing. But thank you all for being here, and we'll see you next week. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Nagashaya Prabhu. Hare Krishna.